Stormlancers is a fast-paced, roguelike 2D side-scrolling game that Shadow dropped on Nintendo's last Direct. And prior to that, honestly, I had never even heard of the game, but I had to check it out since it was a Shadow drop. And I have to say that while I'm becoming more of a fan of that Metroidvania roguelike style of game, this one makes one of the most critical errors that any of those games can make. But it also has a lot of upside as well. So today, let's talk about Stormlancers, but before we get into that, please hit the like and subscribe button, help this channel grow. It means the world to me. You guys are amazing. I love y'all. And one other quick side note before we get going, I apologize for my voice. I am still getting over whatever illness I have. So the main plot line in Stormlancers is that you and your partner crash land on an alien planet. And this planet just happens to have these incredibly powerful creatures that take a liking to you and your partner, and in fact allow you to use some special abilities, including, well, just reincarnation essentially. And the more you find, the more powers you get. You'll be able to do things like double jump, there's a special slide, there's a lot of these kind of movement based skills that you learn, as well as other ones. The really important thing to note though is that these creatures need to be saved, and this planet actually has the key to maybe saving the entire world, as it looks like all reality is on the brink of collapse. So by finding that magical source and saving these creatures, you may be able to save the entire universe, essentially. Honestly, I didn't really get the story too much, if I'm being honest. A lot of that I actually had to read, and I apologize, because I know that always comes off as fake. But the thing is the game itself, outside of the intro, doesn't really keep up with the story, and I had played so much of the game, I sort of forgot what they had told me, if I'm being honest, because the game is way more about the actual combat, the movement, the replayability of it, especially once you get new skills, very much like a Silksong or any other Metroidvania that you're aware of. But of course, there's also the roguelike aspect. You know, every time you die, you essentially get stronger, you get more abilities, this and that. So you're focused on that and not as focused on the story. And they also don't really like to put much of the story into the game. Like thinking about Silksong, or even the last two Prince of Persia games, the Metroidvania ones. And of course there's other Metroidvania games like that do focus more on the story. This one just didn't, and it was okay, because honestly the story is but the actual gameplay is what was important. And this has a tale of two sides, which is, it's hard for me to really put into place. Let me say this, the actual combat, like the hand-to-hand combat stuff, where you have multiple weapons, you have a melee weapon, and you have a gun. And you can find multiple versions of these weapons each run, and you can even kind of stack the deck, because one of the things that you can unlock is a weapon rack. Each type of weapon has their own version of that weapon rack, but regardless, it essentially just offers you more of that type of weapon, whether it be ranged attack or melee attack, right from the get-go. As you've guessed it, it's a roguelike, so you always start again at the same place, which is that crash landing area, and there will be a few weapons laying around. When you first start, you're only given like the weakest of the weak, but after you unlock that weapon rack, you'll usually have like a few options. And then I even noticed that in the run itself, I was kind of able to access better weapons than I normally would. I think it is all RNG though. Yeah, it's not going to guarantee that you're going to get like the best weapon possible, but it just gives you a better opportunity for it. And the reason I'm focusing so much on that is because for me, this was the best part of the game. The combat in general, whether it be with melee weapons or the ranged weapons, it was just really fun, engaging, and it really felt like this is one of those type of games that I had a real fighting chance in. A lot of these kind of games, like, you're gonna have to die 20-30 times before you feel like you're strong enough to take on a boss. My very first run in this game, I got to the boss. Now, he completely killed me, but like, it still gave me that inspiration to do multiple runs and know that I had that ability within me. Now, again, I didn't actually beat the boss until, of course, I died a few more times and leveled my character up and did all the stuff you're supposed to do in a roguelike. But the thing that I didn't like about the game was also hands-on, and that is movement. Specifically jumping. Your character feels like they are wearing lead shoes. Like, you have the weakest jump possible. It feels like these characters have my vertical, and I have 2 torn ACLs. Like, they have no ability to jump. And even when you access a double jump, this is where it really starts to become clear to me that it's not just about the jump, it's also about the controls themselves. As you see, there is another modifier you can use when moving your character, and that is to be able to slide. Well, it just so happens that the slide also doesn't work every time on time. So there were multiple times when I would use that, and then my character would almost react like a tenth of a second afterwards, or sometimes I would have to hit the button twice for it to actually activate. And this, like I said, kind of became a problem as I was playing the game. No, it wasn't that bad when it came to the actual combat. That seemed fine, which is kind of weird to me because it tells me that there's something with the actual commands for those specific buttons. Maybe I had even tried to like remap the buttons to see if it was just the action or the button, and I think it's the action, not the button, which, if I'm honest, really doesn't mean anything to me. I have no idea what that implicates to the programming or the coding or whatever. I've never done any of that on the back end. My point is, though, is there is something that needs to be dialed in a little bit when it comes to the controls. Outside of that, though, I actually really enjoyed the game for as much as I played. Now, I didn't beat the game, but one other thing that I feel like I have to mention is the way that I enjoyed this game the most, and I think the way that anyone would enjoy this game the most, is in couch co-op. For me, that was the funnest, because I'm not gonna lie, this game is difficult, and with another person, it becomes quite a bit easier. Not to the point of making it just like, something you can plow through, but it gives you a fighting chance, I'll say that. And it seems odd to say this, but even while playing in couch co-op, I didn't really even care so much about the control issues. When it came to jumping and things of that nature, it just didn't seem to be as front and center. Now again, I know that they were still there, and it was slightly annoying, but not nearly as bad as when it was just all on me. And that's my issue with this game. I think that this game actually could be really good. Like, with a solid update, this game could be a lot of fun, but I'm still not sure if I'm sold on it as a single player game, or if this is just better as like a 2-player game. Even thinking about going back and playing it now, as I do want to, I really only want to play the game with somebody else. And it's funny how I came to that thought organically, because while I was kind of looking up some of the information about the story, I saw that this game was almost designed for couch co-op, that 2-player experience, and when it comes to that style of gameplay, I think they've totally nailed that. But the single player experience, and even, like I said, with the controls, there does have to be some work done. But I do think if you're looking for a Metroidvania roguelike experience that is specifically for 2 people, then this is a great game to pick up. If you're more into that, like, just single player experience, then maybe avoid this one, because it really does need that second player. I don't know. So for me, I give the game like a 6.5 out of 10. I think it was pretty cool, but I personally prefer more of a single player experience. But let me know what your thoughts are down below about this game, any of the games that came out on the Nintendo Direct, or anything that you're playing, or anything that's coming out this week. Let me know your thoughts. Also, have you heard of Stormlancers before this? Is this one that you've played now? Give me all your thoughts down below in that comment section. Anyway, I love each and every one of you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.